and welcome everyone to the In Focus series of Drishti IAS English. I am Pragya with you today. In today's episode, we are going to discuss a very crucial and a sensitive issue. The title of our today's discussion is Youth Suicides in India. So in this discussion, we are firstly going to understand what is suicide. Then we are also going to understand what exactly is India's scenario in relation to youth suicide. Then we are also going to ponder upon the factors responsible for this. Then we are also going to see some of the government initiatives in prevention of suicide. And lastly, we are going to discuss a practice question for your prelims examination and a practice question for your mains examination. So if I talk about the background of our today's topic, very recently a 20-year-old student has committed suicide in Kerala, and the report that is being published by the police reveals some of the shocking details that before taking his own life, he was subjected to 29 hours of ragging, 29 hours of torture. So this brings us again in the limelight, the topic of youth suicides in India. So if I talk about this phenomenon known as suicide in very simple terms, it means you are deliberately killing your own self. You are deliberately taking your own life, and this in simple terms means suicide. So suicidal behavior comprises suicidal ideation, threats or plans of suicide, suicidal attempts and completed suicide. So this is the complete circle of starting to ending of this phenomenon known as suicide. And study shows that more than 20 suicidal attempts are made within every 40 seconds, out of which at least one person dies. So yes, suicide is very common across the globe, and it is a phenomenon that needs to be have solution to, because this needs to be addressed, because this is slowly and steadily turning into another huge pandemic. Moving forward, let us discuss the India scenario in relation to the youth suicide. So India unfortunately holds the distinction of having the highest number of suicides globally as per the National Crime Records Bureau, also known as the NCRB data of 2022. And if you talk about the facts and figures of the year 2022, 1.71 lakh individuals in India died by suicide, resulting in a suicide rate of 12.4 per 1 lakh people, marking the highest rate ever recorded in the country. And this prompts action. This needs to be thought about, because this is something, a record that which will not be able to proudly hold. Why are we the largest country globally for suicides? No, this is not something we should be proud of. Moving forward, and these figures most likely underestimate the actual figures. See, there is reported deaths, then there is actual death. Okay, so deaths due to suicide are heavily underreported. Firstly, there is a lack of medical care, there is a lack of registration of death facility, then there is societal stigma and other factors which contribute in underreporting of suicides in India. So the real figures of suicide will be much higher than the reported figures. And 41% of all suicides occur among individuals under the age of 30. And this is something we really need to pay attention to, because we have a very young and dynamic population. India has the youngest demographic dividend, and our youth are also committing suicide. So yes, we need to pay attention, because this is becoming a silent pandemic for India. And if you talk about suicide, suicide is the leading cause of mortality of young women in India. So young girls, young women in India are more vulnerable to the phenomenon of suicide. They have a higher rate of suicide than the Indian males. Moving forward, on average, a young Indian takes their own life every 8 minutes. suicide among the youth constitutes a major public health crisis in India, and the time is right when we start public awareness on this topic, when we start running news on this topic, when we start highlighting this topic, when we actually start acknowledging a cry for help, because this problem needs to be addressed if we want to succeed economically. Okay, if we want our youth population to be at their own best, then definitely this also raises alarm of mental health in India. The topic of mental health in India is largely ignored. How many of our parents actually understand our mental health? Can you talk to people about anxiety? If you will say to someone that yes, you require help, they will consider that yes, you are abusing them. This is not abusing, this is concern. And whenever it is possible, whenever you feel overwhelming emotions, I would suggest that kindly take help, because we are ignoring our mental health, and mental health is not very much talked about in a country like India. Moving forward, let us ponder upon the factors responsible for the increase of youth suicides in India. So, it is a complex human behavior and it is futile to locate a single causative factor. So, there is just not one factor. The socio-cultural environment in our country, the pressure which we have of our education system, the pressure which we have of our clearing the competitive examinations, the government job pressure, everything adds up and one day the person decides to end their life. So, the factors are multiple and we cannot blame it on one single factor. So, suicide in young people is best understood as multi-determined and the result of interaction between biological, psychological, familial and socio-cultural factors. So, it is a combination of all of these factors. Moving forward. So, the factor includes mental health problem 54%. So, as of now, I explained to you that yes, we ignore our mental health. We are afraid to ask for help, okay? We do not seek help. If someone asks us to seek help, we consider that, okay, this person is not behaving good with us. This person is abusing us, but the person is concerned about you. And this is what I explained recently. And mental health problems constitute 54% of suicides in India. Then negative or traumatic family issues, especially childhood traumas. Then academic stress 23%, social and lifestyle factors 20% and violence 22%. Then there are financial reasons as well. So economic distress 9.1%, but it is very low if you compare to the other factors, and relationship factors as well, that also have 9% in the suicides in India. Contribution in the suicides in India. So, all of these factors are responsible for the youth suicides in India. And if you talk about the females or young girls in India, arranged and early marriages, young motherhood, low social status, domestic violence and economic dependence are well documented as factor constituting suicide of young women and girls in India. So, yes, our socio-cultural environment also promotes suicide among young girls, and they have a alarming rate more than the boys. Rigid gender roles and discrimination have also been implicated for suicide in young women in India. Moving forward. Alcohol and substance use are recognized as risk factors for youth suicides. Over the past 2 decades, there has been a notable surge in internet uses among young individuals, and a metadata has been compiled of 19 states, which states that 20% of our young population is addicted to the internet. The more you will be addicted to internet, the more there are chances of you getting cyber bullied, the more chances of cyber crimes. So yes, this is an unhealthy addiction that we all have. If you increase your time by 2 hours on any kind of social platforms such as Instagram, X, Facebook, etc., then you are even more vulnerable to committing suicides, because not everyone shows their sad face on Instagram. I'm saying this because I know that yes, people portray their happy faces, but they are going through a lot in their real life. So kindly do not believe that yes, everyone's life is good and your life is not good. That is not the case. People do not post their sad life on Instagram and other such social media platforms. So you should be clearly aware of your screen timings on these kind of apps, because this is again a study that these kind of apps are, you know, leading to depression. They are promoting depression among young people across the globe. Cyberbullying affects 1/3 of young people, with a concerning statistic showing that 1/3 of those cyberbullied individuals express suicidal tendencies. So yes, we are having these kind of new challenges in the form of cyberbullying, in the form of internet addiction. So internet addiction is a factor that is contributing in suicidal tendencies, in depression as well, in mental health issues as well. Moving forward, let us discuss the government initiatives for prevention of suicide. And the World Suicide Prevention Day is being celebrated on 10th September every year, so as to raise awareness about the phenomenon known as suicide. So the Ministry of Health constituted a task force in November 2019 to develop a national suicide prevention strategy for India. The final strategy was launched on November 21, 2022 with the objective of reducing suicide by 10% by the year 2030. So this ambitious policy is there by the Government of India, and that is known as National Suicide Prevention Strategy. There are other policies as well, namely the Mental Health Care Act of 2017, and it aims to provide mental health care services for persons with mental illness. As I said that yes, we often ignore our mental health. That is the kind of health that is often ignored. We do not pay any kind of attention to our mental health, and that is why even mental illness, having mental illness is a taboo in India. People do not discuss it openly, and that is why this act ensures that yes, services are available to those persons who are suffering from any kind of mental illness. Then there is Kiran. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has launched a 24/7 toll-free helpline, Kiran, to provide support to people facing anxiety, stress, depression, suicidal thoughts and other mental health concerns. And if you talk about the phenomenon known as anxiety, ask any friend of yours, he might be suffering it, because since if you talk about youth, the pressure of study is enormous. Firstly, we are said that okay, we need to have good marks in 10th standard, then again in 12th standard. Then if you talk about the quota, the pressure that students face while attempting any kind of government examination such as JEE, NEET, JEE Advance, okay, JEE Mains and JEE Advance, and then NEET. Then again, if they are not able to succeed in that, they'll go for competitive examination. And you might be aware the kind of anxiety which you are facing while preparing for your UPSC attempt. So yes, this is something which we really need to talk about. We really need to reduce this pressure, and the government should pay focus to that yes, what are we trying to do to our young brains? We are just increasing their anxiety, stress. There is no life after 10th. We immediately start preparing for class 12th examinations, because we get serious that yes, we have to get into a good college. For getting into a good college, you have to appear for various kind of competitive examination, be it any kind of field, okay. The most famous ones are JEE Main, Advance and NEET preparations. Then there is government jobs, okay. The competition is very high, the selection rate is very low. So yes, we need to pay attention to all of this. We need to talk about all of this. We need to increase public awareness about all of this. And with this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. We have discussed the phenomenon of suicide. We have also seen the factors responsible for youth suicides in India. We have also understood what the initiatives the government is taking, and as a educator, I would request you that yes, kindly pay attention to your mental health. Don't ignore it, and whenever you are in need, kindly seek help. Seeking help is not bad at all. Now let us discuss a practice question for your prelims examination. So the question is, when is the World Suicide Prevention Day celebrated? Your option A is 10th September, your option B is 10th October, your option C is 10th November, and your option D is 10th December. So kindly drop your answers in the comment box below. Now let us discuss a practice question for your mains examination. So the question is, discuss the challenges of prevention of suicide in India. So in this answer, firstly in the body introduction, you will write about suicide. You will write that yes, India is the country that holds the unfortunate record for the country which sees a largest amount of suicides. Then you will write that yes, what are the factors responsible. Then you can write about the government initiatives, and then you can definitely conclude your answer very holistically, stating that yes, we need to talk about our mental health, we need to increase the public awareness, and we need to fulfill all of the government initiatives very seriously. We need to implement them very seriously, and that is how we can prevent the occurring of this phenomenon in India. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, kindly drop it in the comment box below. If you liked today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting updates. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.